Michael holds a bachelor degree, right? Is that what it is? BS.
Yep.
On psychology from Tulane University and an MBA in innovation and technology from Florida Atlantic University. Please help me welcome Mr. Michael Sparks.
I've got the clicker right here in my hand.
There you go,
Walter. Before we get started, I want to take you back in time a little bit. Remember when you were in elementary school, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade? What did you want to be when you grew up? So I got kids, they're a little bit out of elementary school now, and I had a chance to ask this question to a lot of kids. You know, the answers I heard: firefighter, teacher, doctor. My son wanted to be the garbage man. He thought those trucks were so cool. And you think about it, they really are. They beep when they back up, they lift stuff up, they got all kinds of machinery on it. How many of y'all wanted to be in sales? I've never heard a child say, I want to be a sales rep. And you think about it. When we think of sales, who do you visualize? Is it a sleazy car salesman? I can put you in a car today.
Yeah.
What's your budget? Or have you ever watched the Western? Almost every Western I watch has the snake oil salesman. They ride into town selling the magic elixir, guaranteed to cure all ills and fix that stain. Only $1. And they collect all the money from the townspeople and they disappear in the middle of the night. Now, how many of y'all have watched the show Married with Children? One of my favorite shows growing up. Al Bundy, probably the world's biggest loser. The entire sitcom was built around that. What was his job?
Shoe salesman.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. If you are a business owner, consultant, a business coach, a speaker, you are now in sales. And so what I want to talk about today is how can you sell without invoking all those cliches? How can you sell without really selling? And so I want to talk about some of the challenges we face in sales, and then we're going to talk about some strategies that you can employ to close deals and drive revenue through your company, because face it, that's what we have to do, right? We have to bring in the deals to pay the bills, to make the profit so we can enjoy our lifestyle. So think about selling again for a minute. What is that cultural image that we have in the United States about selling? You've heard the jokes, right? How can you tell if a salesperson's lying? Their mouth is moving. You hear people say things like, hang on to your wallet. Well, this cultural image of sales is probably one of the toughest challenges we face in selling. People don't want to be sold to. Now, let's talk about buying though, because what's more important than selling is buying. Think about the last time you made a major purchase. Now, major's different to everybody. Major may be a house, it may be a car, it could be the iPhone, but think about the last time you made a major purchase. We all go through the same business process of making a decision on what we're going to buy. It starts with an awareness that I have a problem or a need, or there's a gap between where I am today and where I want to be. And once you're aware of that problem, you figure out, can I solve it? Is it solvable? And you begin to gather information, pull it all together. Then you say, okay, yeah, I can solve it. This is a problem that can be resolved. Now you begin to compare and contrast different ways you can be done, what you can buy, who you can hire, and then you make your buying decision. This process has been the same for probably hundreds of years now. It hasn't really changed. And then once you make that decision to buy, what happens next? You guys have heard of buyer's remorse? You reevaluate it. You reevaluate it. Oh my goodness, have I made the right decision? And that, by the way, is where most salespeople and companies fail. They stop their sales process when they get the check, when the customer says yes. And that's an opportunity. It's a huge opportunity, because You get an opportunity to sell more to your customers, get feedback, get recommendations after the sale. But this process hasn't changed. What's changed is the buyer's behavior within the process. So again, thinking about that major purchase you recently made, what was the first thing you did when you realized you had a gap? You may use Google. Buyers are reaching out to Google, they're reaching out to their friends, and they're getting 60% of the way through that process of making a decision before they ever talk to a vendor or a salesperson. Corporate Executive Board commissioned a study a couple of years ago, and they measured that process. 60% of the buying process is completed before they reach out to a salesperson. And then when they need additional information besides what they can find on their own, they're not calling a company. They're calling a friend, a colleague. They're on social media. The speaker we had last month, great guy, just published on Facebook last night. I want to buy a tablet. Which one should I buy? Give me some feedback. He didn't go to Office Depot and ask, which one should I buy? He reached out to his friends. Which one should I buy? So the customers are getting all the way through the sales process before they engage a salesperson. And what that means is that they're forming a vision of the right solution without you. They're beginning to shape what the solution looks like in their mind without ever having talked to a sales rep. And to make it even more challenging for salespeople or anybody that needs to sell is that our buyers have very high expectations. My wife, who I love dearly, we've been married for 20 years, uses eBay, but only if they have a buy it now button. She doesn't have the patience to deal with the auction process. Buy it now, I'll buy it. Harvard Business Review published an article a few months ago about the value of leads and how long that value exists. And what they found is that if you are a sales organization or a salesperson and you respond to a lead within an hour, you have a 7 times greater chance of actually reaching somebody and having a meaningful conversation about that opportunity. 7 times greater than an hour later. And if you respond within an hour, as opposed to tomorrow or the day after or next week, you have a 60 times greater chance of actually having a conversation with somebody that is meaningful. Our buyers want it now. Another buyer expectation that we'd be aware of is the lack of trust. We have a term that we use all the time in business, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. People expect to get cheated. It's a shame. But then you look at what's happened in the real world, and there's a little wonder to it. You guys all know who Scott Rothstein is, right? $1 billion Ponzi scheme in Fort Lauderdale. And he was held up as this wonderful humanitarian. He donated to all these causes. He helped people build schools. But he's a $1 billion Ponzi scheme. He's now rotting in jail. How about Bernie Madoff? World-renowned expert on mutual funds and hedge funds. And when the pressure got too great and he couldn't repeat the success, what did he do? He swindled people. And then the list goes on. Mark Sanford, governor of South Carolina. You guys know about him? He ran off to somewhere in South America. Elliot Spitzer, governor of New York. His campaign was all about eliminating prostitution and vice. And what was he doing? Spending $2,000 a night on escorts. Lance Armstrong, one of my heroes.
Yeah.
7 Tour de France's. He went after people and eviscerated them in the legal system if they claimed he had done something wrong. We now know he cheated. Marion Jones, all those gold medals, steroids. If you get excited and you overemphasize the great things that you can do, people won't believe you. We've been taught not to. Now, there are people that we do trust. Gallup ran a study, and they listed the top 10 occupations that have the least amount of trust. Sales-related positions occupy 4 of those top 10. We are right there with politicians and lawyers. How about that? Now, the jobs that the people do trust are the helping jobs. Professors, teachers, doctors, anybody in healthcare. So what I want to do is take a little bit of a side trip, and I need one volunteer to come up and do a little skit with me real quick. No volunteers? Patricia, right?
Yes.
Patricia, come on up. You need to Patricia, have a seat.
Okay.
Have a seat. Sit down right there. So, I am your orthopedist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, I'm your orthopedist. Patricia, so good to see you again. What's it been, about 6 months since you were last?
I guess.
Oh, terrific. How are the kids?
Perfect.
Everybody's doing good?
Everything's good.
Hey, listen, before we get started,
Yeah.
I need to tell you about a couple things that have changed in the office since you were here last. First thing, see the certificate?
Yes.
We are now capable of doing Botox right here in the office.
Oh, my gosh.
Would you like some Botox?
Oh, of course.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad to hear it. And guess what else we've done? We have invested in an MRI machine. So we can do your MRIs right here in the office. Don't send anybody else out, anywhere else. And guess what? We have a 2-for-1 special this week and this week only.
I think.
I am so glad to hear that. Can I schedule you for one today?
Yes. Yes.
Terrific. We'll get you right in there. 2-for-1 deal. You'll love it.
Perfect.
Thank you, Patricia, very much. Have a great day.
You too.
So give Patricia a hand. What were your emotions listening to the doctor sell? Was that ridiculous? How would you feel when you walk in your doctor's office, he or she began to give you a sales pitch and all the great things that they have done recently? How would you feel?
Really bad.
Would you give that doctor any money?
Yeah.
I mean, you were a good sport, but really, would you let me sign you up for a 2-for-1 deal on MRIs?
No.
Do you need an MRI?
No.
I need to sell MRIs, but she doesn't need one. And what happens is those traditional sales tactics, the things we've always been taught, break down trust. So you're that trusted advisor, and you begin to pitch and close and manage objections, feature, function, benefit, all that great stuff we've been taught, and you're beginning to break down trust. So these are the challenges, right? There's a cultural bias against salespeople. Our buyers have evolved. They expect more, they trust less. And traditional sales skills are actually counterproductive. So what do? Well, that's the fun part. That's what we're going to talk about next. So what I want you to do is think about sales a little bit differently. I want you to shift your attitude. And instead of thinking about sales as a pitch or a close, think about sales as a service. And if we can help our customers move forward, if we can help them solve a problem, then we're providing a lot of value. So we want to shift your attitude. I want you to help really think about what it is that you're bringing to your customer that's important to them. To understand your value can inspire confidence. Because at the end of the day, people still buy from people they trust. And we're talking about seeking commitment. So first let's talk about shifting the attitude. I have a different definition of selling than most people do. My definition of selling is that we're here to facilitate the buying process. You have to cross a gap. Our job in sales is to help you cross that gap and make it as easy as possible. And to do that, what we need to do is look at ourselves as a problem solver and an expert. And the first thing we do when we meet a customer or a prospect is we figure out where are they in that buying cycle. Because if I call you up and I say, hey, listen, I need a price and availability on your service, and I start asking you a whole bunch of questions, how do you feel? You may feel irritated. You want to, just give me, I already know what I want. Just tell me what I want. So we want to figure out where are they in that buying process. And we want to figure out what is their need. And do I have something that solves that need? And if so, we can build a solution, educate the buyer. The key is we will make it as easy as possible for that person to make a commitment to us and buy from us. So think about making it easy. Shift your attitude from sales to service. Now, we talked about that vision solution, right? And our customers have been spending all of this time researching, comparing ideas, and it's all jumbling up in their head. And all the solutions need to look alike to them. And you're saying they're saying, yes, but I have black stripes instead of white stripes. This customer can't tell. They don't know. Now, I want to do another little quick exercise. I am now a pill bottle salesman. See this great pill bottle? It has a very unique feature. Actually, it's not a unique feature, it's an important feature. It has a child-proof lid. And that means that your children can't get into these, what could be very dangerous drugs. How much value does that have to you? How many of you have kids? The value is terrific. Now let's shift perspective. You're 80 years old. You're my father. You have arthritis. How much value does that lid have to you now? Right. Now we're going to shift perspective one more time. Now you're a pharmacist. What of this pill bottle has value to you when you're the pharmacist? Is the fact that I can print the name of your company and phone number on the top? Is the fact that it's easy to wrap with the prescription? Is the fact that it's easy to store or that it's cheap? So your value changes. The product is the same, but the value changes according to the needs of the customer and the perspective of the customer. So you have to understand what your customer needs. And you do that by asking them. And you have to understand your value well enough that you're not making the same story every time, but you change the story according to what the customer needs. And you make sure that there's a fit. And then you show it. You don't tell it, you show it through your actions and by talking about the impact that your product or solution has. The impact that this bottle has on a young mother is peace of mind. They don't care about the bottle, they care about the peace of mind. So you need to know your stripes. The next thing you do is inspire confidence. We talked about the fact that healthcare professionals, teachers, professors, these are the folks, these are experts that we all trust. Each of you is an expert in your field. So rather than worry about being a salesperson and closing the deal, worry about being the expert. Be prepared. Ask great questions. There is nothing more empowering to a customer or to communications than you showing interest in your customer. And you show interest by coming in prepared, dressing the part, and asking great questions. Questions related to them and their business. And then you shut up and listen. Salespeople have a nasty habit of talking too much. You don't talk, you listen. You don't have to tell them how great you are. You have to listen to their problems so you can solve and provide a solution. And avoid weak words. I'll try. You guys all know Yoda, right? There is no try, there's do or do not. Customer says, can you help me? The answer is yes. Or no, I'm sorry, I can't, but I might direct you to somebody who can. Not maybe, not I'll try, but yes, I will. Not maybe or I'll try. And lastly, and most importantly, is you've got to follow through. If you make a commitment to a customer, you have to follow through. If I tell you I'll give you a proposal tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., and I deliver it at 9, Or 12, what message have I just given to you? I don't care. I'm not good. I can't get my job done. So you make a commitment and you follow through. And speaking of commitment, this is what we're all about in sales. Or consulting, or public speaking. If you're in a sales role, what you want is commitment. How many of y'all have watched Barney? You guys all know who Barney is? The big purple dinosaur? I love Barney. Well, I put my son in front of Barney and he'd be happy for an hour. I could do anything I wanted to. You know, in Barney it's great because it's all feel good. It feels great. Everybody's happy. I love you. You love me. We're a happy family. But nothing ever happens. And what you want to do is, and building a relationship is good, and that's what they tell you in sales school, build a relationship. But what's more important is getting a commitment from the customer, because that's golden. That's what puts money in your pocket. So you want to be asking your customers, your prospects, for commitment to move to the next step in their buying process. And you don't have to do that through learning any fancy closing techniques. Go ahead and do this. Google closing techniques. You'll end up with 85,000 pages of responses, and they're all wrong. There's a real simple way to close a deal. What do you think? Do you think I can help you? What should we do next? It's real simple, and your customer will then tell you that it's their choice, and oh, by the way, they just made a commitment to you. And when they make that commitment, you've got to be ready to close it. I would respectfully disagree with the professional advisor who said, when somebody says, what is your price? And you respond, well, what's your budget? That doesn't work with me. Know what your price is and be proud of it. If you charge $5,000 for speaking, say, I charge $5,000. That's what that's my value. Know your value and be proud of it. Don't dance around it. Don't play the game. Just say, I'm worth $5,000. Then if they object, you have an opportunity to negotiate. But know what you need to do and be ready to close the deal. Because if the customer says, yes, let's move forward, how do we start? And you say, well, I need to go work on a contract, work on a proposal, check on resources. Okay, get back to you next week.
No.
Guess what's going to happen? Their solution, their vision's going to change. They'll talk to somebody else. So be ready to close. So sales is tough. We got a cultural bias against it. Nobody wants to be sold, and our buyers are very demanding. But if you focus on facilitating the buying process, collaborating with your customers, and closing your deals, you'll be successful. Shift your attitude from sales to service. Understand your value. Don't be another zebra with black and white stripes. Inspire confidence in you and your company, and then ask for the deal. If you can do these things, you will be successful in sales. So, my name is Michael Sparks. I've had a blast. Thank you very much. Here's all my contact information. And if you so choose, I run a class at FAU. Our next session starts in September. Would love to have you.